The moment NASA heard the moon's hidden vibration, NASA's hidden report. In 1972, NASA recorded something so strange that it was locked away for decades. A faint vibration, followed by a sound, one that seemed impossible to come from the moon. For years, scientists kept silent. But now, fragments of that hidden report have surfaced. Tonight, we uncover what really happened the moment NASA heard the moon's hidden vibration. The story of the ringing moon begins with the Apollo missions. Astronauts deployed geophysical stations with seismic experiments to listen for moonquakes. To calibrate these sensitive instruments, NASA devised a clever test. They would deliberately crash parts of the spacecraft onto the lunar surface. During Apollo 12, the lunar module's ascent stage was sent crashing down. The impact, equivalent to a ton of TNT, was expected to cause vibrations lasting a few minutes, similar to on Earth. But what happened next stunned mission scientists. The vibrations didn't stop. The seismographs recorded signals that built up slowly and continued for over an hour. On Earth, seismic waves are quickly dampened by water and fractured rock. But the moon behaved differently. It vibrated like a tuning fork. The effect was so unexpected that one scientist exclaimed the moon was ringing like a bell. This wasn't a one-off anomaly. The experiment was repeated on subsequent missions with even more powerful impacts, like the nearly 14-ton SIVB stage from Apollo 13. Each time, the result was the same. The vibrations lasted for hours, confirming the bizarre phenomenon. The moon didn't just shudder, it resonated. The leading explanation is that the moon's crust is incredibly dry, rigid, and fractured from billions of years of meteorite impacts. Unlike Earth's wet interior, which absorbs seismic energy like a sponge, the moon's structure allows sound waves to bounce around with very little to dampen them. This suggested the moon wasn't hollow, but an extraordinarily efficient echo chamber, with an interior unlike anything we knew. In the months following the Apollo 12 impact, a palpable sense of anticipation filled the halls of NASA. Scientists pored over the seismic data, expecting to confirm their models of the moon's interior. But what they found was deeply perplexing. The readings from the lunar seismometers were unlike anything they had ever seen. The initial excitement soon gave way to a period of intense and unusually quiet analysis. The data was scrutinized, reanalyzed, and debated behind closed doors. But when the time came for official reports, the full, unvarnished results were never published. Instead, a strange pattern of secrecy emerged. Some key reports seemed to vanish from archives. Others were released, but with heavy redactions, entire pages blacked out, leaving researchers and the public with more questions than answers. The very data that could solve the puzzle was being systematically obscured. Was this simple bureaucratic caution, a standard procedure for protecting sensitive technology? Or was it a deliberate cover-up, an attempt to conceal a discovery so profound it could rewrite our understanding of the moon? When journalists and independent researchers filed Freedom of Information Act requests years later, they were met with a consistent roadblock. NASA cited the use of classified instrumentation. The official explanation was that the seismometers were so advanced, their technical specifications were a matter of national security, especially in the tense climate of the Cold War. In the absence of complete data, scientists within the established community offered several plausible explanations for the moon's strange ringing. One leading theory proposed that the moon's crust was unusually dry, rigid, and unfractured compared to Earth's. Without water or significant geological activity to dampen vibrations, seismic waves could simply travel further and for much longer. Another hypothesis focused on the moon's internal structure. Perhaps its distinct layers, the crust, mantle, and core, were arranged in such a way that they reflected and scattered the shock waves, trapping them in a reverberating echo chamber, unlike Earth's softer, more absorbent mantle. But the information vacuum created by the missing data allowed for more radical ideas to take root. A few voices outside the scientific mainstream, looking at the same strange event, suggested something else entirely. They argued that the moon's prolonged ringing was characteristic of a hollow or partially hollow object with a strong, rigid shell. This led to the extraordinary claim that the moon might not be a natural body at all, but a partially metallic, or even an artificially constructed satellite. These fringe theories, born from a combination of puzzling data and official secrecy, spread quickly through popular culture. Yet despite the growing public fascination, NASA maintained its silence, never directly addressing the more speculative claims, allowing the mystery of the ringing moon to deepen. For decades, the Apollo seismic data was a curious footnote. But in the 21st century, the mystery of the moon's strange acoustics resurfaced. In 2009, a recording, supposedly leaked from a deep space probe, captured a persistent low-frequency hum over the moon's far side, a region famously radio silent from Earth. NASA's official explanation was swift: radio frequency interference from the probe's own electronics. For the agency, the case was closed, but independent analysts found something that defied random noise. Within the hum, they identified structured, rhythmic patterns, suggesting a more organized source. Was it an internal glitch or a genuine signal from the lunar surface? Inspired by this puzzle, researchers revisited the old Apollo data, comparing it with high-resolution readings from modern lunar orbiters. A clear pattern emerged. The moon's quakes are not random. They are concentrated in specific regions, correlating with ancient, massive impact basins. The scars of the moon's violent past are still seismically active. This led to a groundbreaking hypothesis that could explain both the Apollo-era ringing and the modern data. Could seismic waves be propagating through vast, hollow structures beneath the surface? Geologists theorize that ancient volcanic activity could have formed extensive networks of lava tubes, enormous, empty tunnels. If they exist, these subterranean voids would act like immense echo chambers and could one day offer natural, radiation-shielded habitats for future explorers. For some, these new findings strengthened natural explanations. The moon, they argued, isn't hollow or artificial. It's just uniquely dry, dense, and ancient. But others saw the missing data and silence around the recordings as evidence that not everything was being shared. Was NASA protecting national security information, or simply shielding the public from confusion? What makes this mystery even more intriguing is that, to this day, no other planetary body has shown the same ringing effect. Mars quakes differently. Even asteroids absorb impact vibrations more quickly. Only the moon sings back in echoes that refuse to die. That's why the 1972 recordings still fascinate scientists and mystery seekers alike. Even with today's advanced instruments, some of those original seismic files remain missing. No one outside NASA has ever heard the full version of the lunar ringing. Today, NASA acknowledges the phenomenon, but attributes it to dry seismic activity. Still, that one recording remains missing, and many within the space community admit, not all Apollo data is public. Whether the moon spoke back or not, it continues to keep its own secrets, orbiting silently above us. This is Worlds Uncovered, where the unknown meets the undeniable. Subscribe for more true mysteries of science, history, and the human story.